Harmonizers, welcome to the first video back at home in Canada with my horses. So I thought what I'd do today is just kind of share a little bit of an update as to what I've been up to this week. A bunch of you guys have been asking about Caballero and some of my other horses, so I thought I would just catch up to speed with my first week back at home. Right now it is Friday and we got home on Monday, so it's been about 5 days almost back at home. And there's a few things that I'm working on, and I'll just show you guys a little bit of what's going on in Lindsay land, as some people call it. All right, so let's start with Fairly Bean. Fairly is my 2019 freestyle champ, and I'm not really sure entirely everything that I'm going to do with her this year, just because my time isn't super realistic to do a lot of different things. But I love this horse. She is a lot of fun, so athletic, so talented, and so smart. So I've just been goofing around, and this was actually the first and only session that I had time to do with her this week. And where I'm kind of at with her is I have to make a decision if she's going to come with me to Equine Affair in Ohio and compete in the Versatile Horse Challenge, or if I will bring somebody else instead. And so Fairly has been doing a lot of really cool stuff. She's a really awesome horse, but as you guys know, she, sometimes pins her ears and has that grumpy face. And part of me is not sure if there's something physically going on with her. I can ride her and she does everything pretty nicely. The time where it shows up the most is when I'm getting off of her, like when I go to lean forward to get off. So that lets me think that maybe something's going on in her wither area. So I am planning to have the vet come out and potentially x-ray her withers and take a little closer look. So that will be a stay tuned to see what's up with that Fairly Bean. I call everything Bean on the end. All of our dogs are like Lona Bean, Molly Bean. So this is Elysia, and she is working on some performance type stuff. She's pretty good already with the obstacles in general. It's more a matter of getting her to build up her performance. So we're working on some pole weaving here. I've had a chance to ride her twice during being home, and she's doing a lot better with her right-handed side. I'm going to speed up the video for you so you can see that we did some more work on that, giving her rewards when she gets the circle tight. So usually with our weaving, if she gets too far away, then we do an extra circle around that object. So she did that pretty nicely. And then another exercise that we're working on is trotting between the poles, like trotting from one pole to the next pole and stopping at them, and trying to get her at a place where she gets a little bit more athletic and crisper with the transitions, and using the poles really helps. So sometimes we go from, like, we pass a pole and go all the way to the next one. Sometimes we go just the one that's in the middle there, which is a little bit harder. And with my horses that are more schooled, higher level of training, they'll do this exercise at the canter when they're this close together. But because this is all kind of new for her, she is just doing this at the trot, and she's doing pretty well, and we're touching the objects that way she understands that the object is get to them. And you can see she disagrees a little bit with how close she should have to get to that particular pole. And so I have to ask her to move over, but at first she kind of drifts away from it. And that happens a couple times where she just kind of is like, you know what, I don't really want to go closer to that pole. So she does need some more confidence with some of the obstacles, and definitely needs more practice with this type of work. And she is an option for me to take to Equine Affair. It would be a great experience for her to go, but I do think at this point in time that she would be a bit overfaced. That, at this point in time, she's only had one opportunity, which was at Horse World Expo, to be in the ring by herself and do a demo there. And she has not done any type of competitions or anything like that. So I do think that the Versatility Challenge at Equine Affair is a particularly hard competition, and we would definitely not be super competitive if we went together. We could probably get something done, but it would not be super impressive. Whereas Fairly, if Fairly can go, if Fairly is able to go, then she would actually be competitive. She's got a lot of fancy buttons in her and can do things pretty well. So, and then of course other options would be maybe bringing Kaibou, who went to the Texas World Championships with me for the extreme cowboy racing, and he'd be probably the other one because Dreamer is pretty much retired from doing lots of long traveling stuff. And Dreamer's my movie guy who's super awesome, but he's just, he's an older fella now, so he goes to local shows with the kids, but I don't really pull him out for long stuff. But here's a little look at just doing a couple of the little obstacles. She hadn't done the Liverpool before, and she kind of briefly looked at it and just goes right over. And same with the little board there. She kind of briefly puts her head down and goes right over. So she's pretty confident with a lot of the different obstacles. I'm pretty impressed with her bravery for different things like that. All right, so I'm going to take you guys outside. Take a look at the little pompones out here. This is Clyde. Some of you guys have been asking what some of my horses are up to. So Clyde has not done anything with me this week, and I definitely feel a little bit guilty. I just haven't had a chance to pull him out yet. There's little Kaibou, and he's been doing lessons with one of my students. So he's getting ready to do Extreme Cowboy this year in youth. And here's Caballero just watching my horses in the field. Those are my Florida 3 on the side there. So Caballero's just hanging out. I just haven't had a chance to pull him out yet. It's been pretty intense. So this is Valiente working on some of his stuff. He's working on doing some weave and some different things. And my priority is really my horses that are going to be outperforming in front of thousands of people, because that's pretty important, that I want to do a good job at the performances. And then my other horses are not doing as much. And this week being particularly busy getting home, getting things unpacked and getting settled and stuff. And so we really didn't have a chance to do a whole lot of stuff. Valiente here, he spooks himself because he steps on the piece there. And he'd been doing fantastic with the back throughs and stuff, so he really scared himself. And then this little piece here ends up taking him more time, and I end up having to really slow it down for him and praise him to work it through. And one of the things I love about having the different challenges and things is that it gives me a target and a goal and a deadline to kind of meet, and pushes me a little bit, which is great. And then the other horses like Clyde and Caballero, there's no deadline, there's no timeline really. So they're the first ones that kind of get pushed to the back burner. Now they still come in every day to get grain, and so they're still handled by staff and get their feet trimmed and stuff like that. But I just haven't had the chance to get out. So Valiente this week has had, I believe this is his second session with me, and Elysia, I had rode her twice, and Fairly only got out once. So I really didn't have a lot of time, especially with it being winter and it's pretty cold out, and Evelyn's much more active now. She moves around. So I can't just set up a playpen at the side of the arena. It's too cold to do that for Evelyn, so that wouldn't be very fair. So I can only really get out to my horses if my husband's home and able to watch her, or if I'm able to take her to daycare or something like that. Now that will change come the summer, because I've actually doing interviews right now for a personal assistant, which will help me both kind of with the horses and with Evelyn, and travel with me different places. So that will get easier. I'll have somebody with me to help me. And so more time with the horses would be great. And as you can see, Valiente is going around with his little bareback pad on. So this was the first night that I put the bareback pad on, because I do need to get him started under saddle, because I do want to give him the best chance at finding a good home when we're all said and done. So we got to get crack-a-lacking at the whole starting him under saddle thing. But so far, he's doing really well. He had a great session at home. Pretty impressed with this little guy. He's come a long way. So anyways, there's my update for the week. Thanks for watching, guys, and we will see you next time.